Okay, welcome back. This is a general chat. Hopefully, a few people have moved across from the other chat we were doing a minute ago. I'll just check the audio is working. Yeah, audio is fine. Ooh, okay, I just dropped something on the floor. I'll have to remember to look for that later because I'm not sure what I've actually dropped. Um, so this chat's basically just a general one about absolutely anything. Um, Quite simply, I know we have some conversations that that sort of sprout out of the video. It starts 2006 Crusader 2000. Ouch, my ears. Was a bit of feedback. Oh, when I dropped something. Yeah, I don't know what it is either. I can't see because the lights off. But I heard it go bang on the floor. Nearly hit my drone. Got my drone under the desk at the minute because we took it out for a flight. That was a bit of a disaster because my son picked the drone up by there's like these plastic blades, blade protectors. They're like rings that go outside the blades, and he picked them up. By the time I got to the field, I go there. It broke itself, Dad. It's like, what do you mean it broke itself? And I go, and two of them had snapped. And then I like broke those off because they're completely knackered. And then when we come back down from the flight, the the way another one had broke, so I'm removing all of those. But the bizarre thing with that, I did a video, right? Because I put the GoPro on there, put a GoPro camera on, and put it on there. And what did it video? It videoed me switching the camera on, and then it videoed me carrying it to the house. It missed all the sunset over the lake and all the nice stuff. It was just a video of the just me, and me talking to my son carrying it on the on the backpack. Like there was just nothing at all I could use, no content whatsoever. But yeah, and then there's the mosquitoes as well. I mean, the mosquitoes were absolute nightmare. They were horrendous because the mosquitoes here in Spain are much bigger than they are in the Philippines. When they bite you, you know about it. I mean, the worst time I had here was I went cycling and ended up through a farmer's field, and he'd had some stale water there from where we'd been doing was irrigation, and I had about probably 60 mosquito bites on my legs to the point they were just like swollen up. But life as an expat. It's nice to have the time to be able to go and do this stuff, though. That's the thing. I mean, I know in the UK I don't really get enough time to do it because when I'm working, I'm working. Yeah, George, your thoughts on food in the Philippines, please, especially sweets. Hello, hello. Li Chen Flan, Buko Pie, Pluto, etc. um, the hello, hello, I do not understand it. And I know Filipinos love it. I know some expats that love it. But for me, shaved ice and purple yams and all sorts, I just don't get it. It's not for me. It just seems very tasteless to me. It just doesn't seem to taste of anything. But I know people, oh, yeah, we've got some of this. I don't know what it tastes like. There is something. I'm trying to remember what comes out of Argo, on Cebu Island. They produce some delicacy as well, but I can't remember what it's called. But that's quite nice. But the flans and stuff, yeah, they're nice. But I find a lot of the food is quite either bland, sweet, or bland and sweet. Um, but it is what it is. Yeah, yeah. It just didn't taste. Even eating the fruit, it seemed to like lose its flavor because we actually have a place near where we live in the Philippines, just along the main road from us that actually specializes just in making that stuff. But I just couldn't find any flavor in it. It just seemed extremely bland to me. But then again, my taste buds are more like, yeah, that's it, 2006 Crusader. Hello, hello. It's like licking the ice in your fridge. Yeah, that's it. Um, It's yeah, for me, it's not strong enough. See, I like hot and spicy food, so that's a bit mild for me. But it's the same with people with manok, when they have the old lechon manok with the old pig. You'll get to a fiesta and they're like, "Oh, the lechon manok," and it's like, yeah, there's always lechon manok. Every party has it. It's the same stuff. Um, so yeah, a lot of the food is bland. For me, my taste buds, it's bland, but I don't mind it too much. Yeah, that's it, George. Put alcohol in it. That would fix it. That would spice it up a little bit. Get a bit of tequila in there. It would be perfect. Donny Helton, I have a baby on the way in Negros Occidental. I'm 19 years old, so is my partner. She is still in the province, and I'm currently in America saving money. How much does it cost you each year to stay? It all depends on your setup. Because what you have, I find you have what I call what do you call it? Let's call it expat creep, which is basically what you have is over time you start getting more comfortable and start wanting more. You start off with quite happy using the jeepneys, and then it's raining and stuff, so you then think, "Ah, maybe I'll get a car, a multi-cab or something." So then you're spending more money on a vehicle. Or you got air conditioning. You start off with fans, then go, we'll just get a unit in, and then your electric bill's gone up from say 300-400 pesos to 1,500. So the costs actually go up over time. Also, if you're dealing with childbirth, there is different ways of having a childbirth. Not literally with the person, but the hospitals, or there's midwives. There's multiple ways to do it, and the costs vary considerably. Because I know I'm trying to think there's like birthing clinics which can be quite reasonable. Hospitals, um, I think that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know I had to put something. I I had to put a fair bit of cash down. Let's put it that way, because of making sure that if there was an emergency, there was already money there to make sure that there was money to cover things like an incubator and any emergency stuff. So I put aside just for the preliminary 50,000 pesos. Um, I mean, it didn't cost as much as 50,000, but that was just the money on hand in case there was something happen. Uh, Extension fees are relating to visas. Um, the best person to ask is Mark. Mark's currently doing it at the moment. The thing with the visa fees is, I think somebody brought it up earlier. It's about $45 a month. Um, so yeah, it's about $45 a month. So if you just calculate over a year, it'll give you an idea. But bear in mind, you get I think the fee for being late is 1,000 pesos for every month. But some of that might have changed as well now. Um, 2006 Crusader, Matt. Serious question: in what province can you buy the cheapest farmland? Of course, with access road to it. Well, I'm sure you could. Yeah, are you on about a farm area that's safe? Because there's plenty of areas where there's almost civil war going on. Um, you want to be in areas where you know the land's going to be safe. Because I know some people that have actually been driven off their land by NPA moving south. Um, so you want to be in an area that you know you're not going to have too many hassles. The person to speak to on that would be James Musselwhite. You'll find him on Facebook. He's been around for years. He's got a nice big farm set up himself. So you're you're best to make contact with him, because he can help you in so many ways. He knows what he's talking about. He's got a lot of experience, been there a while, and best person to speak to. Donny Helton, my plan is to buy pigs and chickens and open a small store. I don't have a lot of money. I'm trying to come get at least 100,000. Is that 100,000 pesos or dollars? Starting a small store doesn't need a lot of money anyway. You could start that before you even arrive. You could get your partner. If your partner's over in the Philippines, you can get that started already. Um, Pigs and chickens, you've got to make sure you get good stock on those, because if the bad stock, you won't make a lot of money on it. But you can combine the three to make a reasonable amount of money. You just have to make sure you got the right setup. I would say there's more money in fighting cocks. I know my father-in-law, before he died, some of his fighting cocks are 5,000 pesos each, because they just take them up from chick to obviously fighting age. So there is money in doing fighting cocks, and my wife's uncle has quite a large farm. I know just on the animal feeds that it's over 30,000 pesos a week, because they've got quite a large setup, but they're making some serious money. Uh, 2006 career. Yes, not near my uncle Abu. Yeah, yeah. James Musselwhite. Let me tap. I'll put it in the James Musselwhite in the live chat. He's been around a long time. He knows what he's doing. He's got a good setup. He does. He shows a lot of stuff on his Facebook. He doesn't really put anything else online. He's not. I don't think he's got a blog. He doesn't do the videos. But on the farming stuff, he's a very good resource. I've got some good Filipino resources relating to that. I've got a professor of agriculture that was a friend of my father-in-law, who used to do the radio shows and stuff in the Philippines, as well as went to, I think it was Thailand, to teach them how to do rice when the Philippines was the place producing rice. um, Patrick Glenn, did the Philippines borrow money from the Chinese yet, or is that something they're still trying to do? I think though the thing is they're so embedded in the Philippines. The old taipans have been there for a long time, so I think that's gone through. There's already stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background. There's a lot more going on than we're aware of, certainly. But the big problem you've got is the media um, are, are driven more from the yellow shirts, shall we say? Because that's what you hear people say, the yellow shirts. They don't say it in such a polite way, but the former Aquino administration. So it's obviously very biased. And then this is why there's a lot of stuff going on relating to the vice president at the moment as well. Donny Helton, I spent 4 months in the Philippines, Taguig City and Negros. I was the youngest white man there. Yeah, the funny thing is, there's been more and more younger people go. I've noticed a bit of a trend on that lately. I think more people are open their mind to new experiences lately. I don't know why, but they just have. But I think it's a good thing. I think it's good for people to experience new things, but also I think the media is often very narrow. So people actually going out of their comfort zones, they get more experience and they can see right through a lot of the stuff that goes on in the media. So it's beneficial for everybody, But that's one of the reasons I like to encourage people to go and experience things they haven't done before. They can see things for themselves. They can understand it on a different level, because when you're on the ground, it's very different from watching it on TV or something. Um, it's good experience, it's good knowledge, it's good to have something that's very different. It's like there was somebody arguing about, because I made a comment relating to um, what was it? It's to do with the Brexit. And they were on about, well, everybody would have to go back to the UK, and it's one of these Facebook groups. And I said I'd rather be in Afghanistan. Um, and the thing is, some of the locations are fine. It's like anywhere. The big problem for me in the UK, if somebody actually forced you to go back there because of this Brexit nonsense, um, and I say nonsense in the sense that it's the way the media are playing with it and the way it's being toyed about that frustrates me. Because people are focusing on who said what and the tit for tat sort of stuff, rather than asking, hang on, is anybody fit to lead the country? Which is the real bit. because it ain't going to affect. I mean, the UK does not want its retirees back. That's one thing it does not want, because a lot of the retirees don't have their houses for a start. So they would instantly become a burden of state because they can't financially buy another house and that they're the wrong age to buy one. So there's lots of reasons they wouldn't mess around with their pensions. Um, Ultimately, I think the problem with the UK is it needs to its what do you call it? Its government out. It needs leadership, good leadership. And I know Scotland's kicking off at the moment about independence. But at the same time, I don't think that will fix Scotland either, because the current government for Scotland has been the same government for a while. If they were going to be doing something amazing, they've already had the opportunities. Donny Helton, they should legalize recreational marijuana. In Spain, you can have, I think, 3 plants. Uh, I'm not. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's not an issue here. You know, the I don't think you can smoke outside, but you can certainly smoke in your own house. It's not a problem. So yeah, um, it might. I mean, it depends on which country. I mean, in the UK, I wouldn't say that that is a major issue for the Oh, you meant the Philippines? Yeah. Well, the thing is, Philippines is a bit well, extremely. I think somebody got 12 years for it. So yeah, it's a pretty serious crime still in the Philippines. It's still classed in the same as some that have a more substantial type of personal medication. Um, don't they make a sign, go to the Philippines and post it outside? Yeah, the thing is, the I think a lot of it is tied into the export trade, because there's a lot of stuff that gets exported um, for the bigger market, the global market, and I think this is why a lot of it's pretty strict, in my opinion, because obviously it's the groups that have been ongoing with fighting in the Philippines for a long period of time. I mean, it's over 30 years, I think, with the old communists. But yeah, it's all. I think it's all about the money in some form, whatever way we look at it. It's all about money. It grows so easily in the Philippines as well. So yeah, I mean they could legalize it, but they can't tax it, which is the bit they don't like. See, the thing with getting rid of the farming and destroying, or whatever they want to call it, with the farming industry, is when it goes to import, it's all got to go through the ports, which means it's taxed its source. If you have farming which is remote, etc., it doesn't need to go anywhere near the ports, and you could say I had a bad year or whatever, and money disappears. So it's not controlled centrally, which is, I think, where the reality is that a lot of the problems are. It's too much black market in the Philippines, which is why they like to import the pigs from Thailand and whatever, importing the rice, etc., because it can be taxed at source. Because if you can produce it yourself, you may not even tax any of it if you get away with it. It's like you see a lot of the pig farmers, the backyard fatteners and whatever. They're not taxed. There's a lot of stuff that's just simply off the radar completely. Um, yeah, yeah, all comes down to tax at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what it is. It's all about, if they can't make money off it, they don't want to know. It's that's a bit like the Brexit. I mean, I know I brought it up again, but the whole point of the Brexit, it will cost the UK taxpayer more. Simple as that. There's no way it's going to cost less. Financially, if people think the UK is going to be better off financially for an individual, then I think they're barking up the wrong tree, because bloated governments is the way it's going. The same reason, if they get rid of the EU guys, the MEPs will then become advisors of some sort and get another job within the same industry. But then you've got this whole transition period of experts, which is at least 500 people. So, yeah, if there's no money to be made on it, that's why the old Mary Jane won't be available. It won't be something you can grow in your backyard and enjoy at your leisure. About JB Melmax? What about getting pain medications if you move there and have been on them for medical reasons? They ain't gonna accept it. It's like anywhere. You can have stuff in one country and then you go to the other. If it's a banned substance, it's a banned substance. Um, they won't accept it. But then again, you can get morphine and stuff in the Philippines. There's much harder medications available. George, but there are reports imported rice has plastic in it. Yeah, there's been plastic fake rice because there's been a few places that have come up with that because when you cook it, obviously it's plastic, so it becomes very obvious that it's fake. Um, but they do clamp down on that quite hard if they catch people doing it. But we know which countries are doing that because it's been ongoing in their own country as well. Patrick Glenn, do you think YouTube would be boring without the hobo and the videos people make about him? I think with his video, I don't watch his channel. It's just too much spouting of hate, and if you look at the titles, you'll say, "I can't be bothered." Well, I do. I just can't be bothered. There's nothing I actually want to see on there. But at the same time, some of the stuff people get up to are quite amusing and creative. I mean, especially when people stitch different things together video wise. But yeah, but it's sort of got for me, it's got very boring. It's not it's not as interesting, you know. But then again, he didn't change what he was doing. He was just abusive. But some of the stuff people are doing relating to the wanted posters and stuff is amusing. Um, Another thing is he creates this stuff, and then you go, "I'm a victim here." It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, but I do think it all depends on. Yeah, Patrick Lane. I think the wanted posters are funny. Yeah, but that's. I mean, I was talking to Ella Winter about this. I said the thing is, if he's wanted for something, people should find out what he's actually wanted for. If he's not, it's going to look a bit silly if somebody actually turns him in to find the people looking like they're MBI or whatever, looking with puzzled faces, going, "What are you talking about?" So yeah, I do think if somebody actually did something, it could sort of backfire that way. Donny Helton, NFA Rice as well. Uh, NFA. I recognise the name. Hang on a sec, I'm gonna Google what it is 'cause National Food Authority, yeah. Yeah, National Food Authority did a video on it actually, because they put it on, the news to warn people because of the way it burns. Um, well, the thing is they can change the sacks. That's the thing. If you're stealing the rice, you've got the empty sacks anyway. So yeah, I mean it's pretty. I mean it's not a small scale venture. They're pretty big on it. It's like some of um, the big labs relating to some of the substance abuse. They are they are almost pharmaceutical quality. The setups that they have in the clean rooms, etc. Um, some pretty big stuff set up. There's been a lot of money invested in it, and obviously making a lot of money as well. But also, you got to bear in mind if they're protected within some of the people who are in power, they can invest a bit of money because nobody's going to bother them nine times out of 10. It's just when you have changes in government, you can have that little bit of change that suddenly rocks the boat a bit because they don't mind going and raiding somebody's house or whatever. I know Tommy Osmena raided somebody's house this weekend. So I'm just thinking who it was. There's somebody high profile got raided by SWAT this weekend because I was reading on Tommy Osmena's feed. Tommy Osmena is the mayor of Cebu. Um, it's one of the limbs, I think. But the thing is, the house was raided. He couldn't get the judge wouldn't give the warrant, so he raided it anyway with SWAT. uh, cardboard in dim sums. Yeah, there's all sorts go on. That's why I like. That's why I like Spain. I haven't really had any of those problems in Spain, but I mean, you see some of the stuff that happens in China. They're even checking the oil that people are cooking with because they're actually getting oil out the sewers and all sorts. It's like, what's going on? Are we really at that turning point in food scarcity that we actually have to do this stuff? You know, people think it's okay to do it. It's bizarre, but yeah, some really strange stuff goes on in the food these days. But again, you look at Jamie Oliver with the pink slime and the old McD's. Um, the that was a big shock to a lot of people what the actual chemical was that was going into the food. Um, but that's why it's always worth knowing what you're eating. Things about the Philippines, though, I mean, as Donny Helton was on about with the setting up, with doing the chickens and the pigs. If you're doing the food production yourself, you can maintain the quality, and it could be worth doing stuff like having a barbecue station and other bits and pieces where you're taking it from birth to the table. There's more profit in it. Maybe worth learning how to let's just say get rid of an animal, slaughter it, and then dice it up. I actually have a friend who does all that. Hang on, what's his? I wonder if I can find his channel. I'm trying to think of his. Ah, yeah, I know who it is. Yeah, Scott Rea. He's got quite a Scott Rea project. If you want to know about meat and how to cut it up and all sorts, he's a proper butcher. We've known each other for years because we used to drink in the same pub. But his YouTube channel's taken off quite a lot. Post maybe it'll let me post a link in here. Yeah, Scott Rea project. He's got 150, nearly 152,000 subscribers. Yeah, his channel's growing quite a lot. But he's based in Worcester in the UK, in St John's, same neck of the woods that I come from. But if you want to know about butchery and preparation of meats and stuff like that, he's the guy to ask. He knows his stuff inside out. He's a butcher. Yeah, that's what he does. He's a butcher, literally. Um, Donny Helton, I think Filipinos would really like tacos. I agree. I don't know how to make the taco shells. I haven't actually looked at that because I'm sure that you should be able to get most of the ingredients in the Philippines because that's the big thing in the Philippines is getting the ingredients. If you can get all the bits and pieces locally, life's so much easier. Because I know a lot of this stuff um, locals may replicate, but it becomes complicated to do. Most of them wouldn't bother. So doing the tacos, if you can actually make your own shells and stuff, or the wraps, yeah, they would sell. They really would sell. Because one of the things that we have we have from when we're there is sometimes is shawarma. Shawarma is like it's like in like a plastic cup, where it's like diced. It's got rice, some diced meat of some sort, and an egg on top. That's quite nice. That's quite tasty. That is. If you haven't had it, I recommend trying it. It's called shawarma. Um, that would work. You know, that's what I'm saying. If you got the right meat products, etc., then yeah, you could do that. But also, you can promote the fact that you know exactly what went in your meats. You know, you're not feeding the because you've got good stock in meat. And I think the chicken wise, somebody was doing the French bantams. They were doing well because they grow pretty big. Uh, Paul, Matt, do you think that you owe it to your children that you spend less time on YouTube and instead get another part-time job of some sort? What are you talking about? I see my kids on a daily basis. At the same time, it's early in the morning here. It's 2 o'clock in the morning here because I've spent my day with my kids. Um, I spend my weekends with my kids, and I spend most of my time with my kids. So no, it doesn't actually interfere with time around my kids at all. Um, if if we're out and about, you probably, if you watch my Spanish channel, you'll see that most of the weekends and this most of my videos are not done during the time that the kids are awake. So no. uh, Bullet Blacks. Do you find it safer now with the that is cleaning? Paul, you just why do you have to be a twat? You're gone. Yeah, Paul's gone. I mean, the thing is, I know which idiot that'll be as well. He's a sad little troll that had his he's done me out of his pram over something ages ago because his he contacted me because I have no idea why he contacted me originally, but he almost seemed like he needed to be reassured that his life was okay. And he's been bugging me ever since. That's probably about his 15th fake account so far. It's sad. Uh, oh, dirty cleaning, you say? Um, from what I've heard in the Philippines, oh, he's gone. Patrick Glenn, he's already gone. Not Patrick Glenn's gone. The guy's gone. He's like I said, it's just sad. I mean, you get these sad little individuals up here, and it makes their day. But for me, it's just like move on. Not interested. Um, 2006 Crusader, Paul's a troll. Yeah. Well, why else would he even bother with that? Because he already knew what, like I said, it's 2 o'clock in the morning here. My kids have spent my time with my kids, and if we'd watched the Alicante Spain channel today, it would have seen we've been to football today, same we've, I'd been out today and stuff. The same as the other videos, going to the beach and all that sort of stuff, because that's our lifestyle here. We do spend a lot of time with the kids because why else? Otherwise I might as well be back working in the UK. Yeah, sorry, Bullet Blacks. Do you find it safe when with the dirty cleaner? So, I would say from the guys I've spoken to, they've said yes. I've heard a lot of people say if it's a lot safer. I know the media have been pushing the fact that people are going, "Oh, it's not so safe," but a lot of the people that they're approaching has had the role reversal. From what I'm seeing, from the people I've spoken to, where people were worried about addicts and stuff robbing them or whatever, those addicts are now worried that the police may come and arrest them. So they've had a role reversal because the police will come down pretty hard on them. And that's the reality. From what I'm hearing, that's what multiple people have told me. So I would say, yeah, it's a bit safer. Yeah, well, yeah, 2000 is crazy. No need to explain that. First of all, it's your life, and from this side, only respect. Yeah, yeah, but I'm saying it's like for me, I wouldn't even bother saying something as stupid as that. At the end of the day, we've got, my kids, like I'll be up in the morning when they're going to school, um, go up, see them when they go to school. Then we'll be doing some of the immigration stuff, then some of my other bits and pieces for work. Um, and then we pick the kids up at 5 o'clock because I walk to the bus station every day. Yeah, it's just trolling stuff. West CW, instead of killing them, can they just send them to an island in the Philippines? That I think the thing now is a lot of it is that there's a lot of things like Zomba and things like that going on relating to the addicts in the Philippines. There's a lot of proactive stuff trying to rehabilitate people. There was something that come up recently about the church getting involved. and basically the people started absconding from they would go to the Zumba classes, but they didn't want to be preached to, so they weren't turning up to the religious stuff. Um, the other thing with that being is if they're an addict, they're not really a criminal because they haven't actually committed a crime yet. So they could send them to another island, I suppose, but the prisons are pretty full as well. So don't know if moving them to another island would fix the problem. Um, I don't know how much it's going to change things long term. I mean, I don't know what the rehabilitation programs are. Are they having a good recovery from it? You know, are people moving away from drugs, or are they still turning up because they have to? But well, I've got a high fail rate. I don't know because I know a lot of in the UK the fail rates are pretty high relating to rehabilitation, and it's a lot softer. So I don't know. I think from Duterte's point of view, he sees it as these people are people that are not beneficial to society if they refuse to change. Yeah, it's I think that's the problem. And you know, at the end of the day, if people won't change, then becomes a bigger problem. Um 2006 Crusader, depending on the island, yeah. It's Boracay maybe. Yeah. Bullet Blacks, I think it's more like surrender and go to an island, be a rehabilitator, or fight back and be killed. It's more like that. Yeah, I agree. I think that's what's going on. I think on the early days there was a bit of a um, knee jerk reaction relating to the crimes that were going on. So what's happened is you've turned around and got people at the top of the tree trying to disassociate with people that have been working with them for years, because obviously we all know how bad the corruption is. So I think some of the heavy stuff early on was people actually doing it to get people away from them. You know, killing anybody that's actually connected to somebody um, of a political seat. Yeah, so I think, yeah, I agree with you with that. With Crusaders, that still goes on. There's if you read some of the stories that go on, the news articles relating to witches and stuff, there's some very bizarre stuff that still goes on in some of the remote places. I mean, we were talking on the last video on the other one relating to the whack whacks and the witches, because a lot of people are very superstitious and like sometimes they assume there's a witch or something because people have been getting sick, and then they start going, oh, it's such and such as a witch. You know, the gossip starts and the next thing something crazy happens. uh Bullet Blacks, away from the politics, what food do you like there? I like sisig, sizzling sisig. That's one of my favorite dishes. Which is basically it's pig ears, and I think it's ears, troughs, and cheeks. It's all it's all the bits of face on the pig. That's quite tasty. I think I've got a video on it actually. I think we did a video a while back related to cooking it. So I've probably got one on the channel somewhere. That's one favorite. I don't have that very often because obviously it's not the healthiest of food. I probably have that about 4 times a year. I like calamari. Um, yeah, I'm not a big fan of too much pork stuff, you see. So it's guna. Yeah, yeah, Indonesia. Yeah, it's good stuff. I like spicy food. And that's where I have a contrast with the Philippines, 'cause a lot of the food is fairly bland. So I do like to have heat in my food. Even here in the house, we have multiple peppers and stuff, as well as several different hot sauces. Because obviously we have Tabasco and stuff, but we also have some Chinese stuff and some really red hot stuff. But I love it. I eat peppers raw as well, you know, because I like hot stuff. Um, yeah, there's some good food out there. Donny Heldon says I really enjoyed Quack Quack. Yeah, it all depends what your taste buds like. 'Cause for me, I like things like, like curry dishes. I like chicken buna and a lot of spicy dishes. From the Indian food is more my taste buds. I'm not too keen on the bland stuff. Although when I first moved to the Philippines, a lot of time we had chicken, soy sauce, and white rice because we are just keeping costs down. But it's all right for the first 3 months, and then you start wanting something a little bit different. But even now, I'm still quite happy just to eat chicken. I can eat chicken on its own, non-stop, no problem. Um, especially if it's got a bit of herb or something in there to add a bit of flavor. Yeah, Donny Helton. I've lost weight since I've been back in America. I miss lechon a lot. Yeah, for me, I I've lost a bit of weight because I've been on smoothies. Because even this week, have you seen? Let me see if I can get it. If you've seen what my wife had ordered today, you'll see why I struggle to lose weight. I mean, it was a nice treat, but I only ate a tiny bit of it because I ate 1/4 of this burger. You've never seen anything like it. Uh, the we were at the football earlier because we went to watch the local team play, and it was a good match to watch because they won 4-1. But I'll show you this burger because it's just ridiculous. Um, Yeah, you see that burger, it's huge. I mean, I don't even know how heavy it was, but it's almost like cutting a football in half. That's how big it was in the bun. But yeah, see, the thing with me is I'm still dieting. Before anybody says you eat all that crap, how are you still dieting? Well, it's because I have a couple of days, 1 to 2 days a week on. I'm still juicing, so my weight's not actually stayed down. Um, Although I really need to have 3 days a week to actually continue losing weight, is stay down. Because we eat too much. We eat out a lot. um, Joust Mike, China claiming Philippine land and Philippine presence is like, yeah, can't do anything about that. Um, I think we just have to wait and see on that side. It's still early days, and there's a lot of peacock feathers going on at the same time. I do think Duterte's trying to play both sides to get the best deal. Because if we can get stuff off the west and the east, then he comes out on top. 2006 Crusader. Compared to Thailand, I do think the Philippines kitchen is poor. Yeah, that's I agree because the thing with Thailand food, I do like their food a lot. I do like it a lot. It's very what do you call it? It's very tasty, but also very varied. Like, there's a lot more flavors in there. The Philippines, it's a lot more bland. It's a milder taste. Peter, Matt, I'm your friend. Genuine question. It's all about the opportunity costs. Um, I What opportunities? I've got other stuff I'm doing. I actually do stuff during the day as well. Michael Rodriguez, what's the price of that epic meal? The burger and fries was €12. That burger was ridiculously huge. But the thing is, the meat. I'm not sure what the meat is because it's more spicy. So it's like it tastes a bit more like goat or lamb mixed with beef because its texture is a lot stronger. That's why it's managed to hold the burger together. It's a bit more, um, uh, well, it's just very, very. It was tasty, but it wasn't too chewy. But I could only imagine a quarter of it. Uh, 2006 Crusader. Every province in Thailand has its own kitchen. Yeah, yeah, I know. It's really. I actually teach Thai students English when I've got time. I've got one of my Thai students actually helping set up the signs, the advertising in in Thai for us for the English, so that we can advertise it on like Facebook and things like that. And there's some social groups that are within Thailand itself, that aren't outside of Thailand, which is good for marketing. Peer to peer, but you spend a lot of time on social media, which is high probability opportunities cost. The thing is, I spend a lot of time on YouTube and things like that because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background. There's a lot of stuff that comes out of social media that is not directly involved with what you see on the channel. For example, networking. You extend your network and you find you interlink with a lot more people. So where you see this side, what you haven't seen is new contracts that have come in through LinkedIn, for example. There's other stuff that goes on in the background. This stuff is stuff I like doing. This is a hobby for me. It's not about money. I make my money on other stuff. 2006 Crusader, Abu Sayyaf me. Well, are you saying, is it, oh, what's the word? There's a word for that. Halal meats. Halal meats. Possibly. Yeah. It could be there's no beef in it whatsoever, because it tastes more like, it's got more of a flavor of a kebab. So yeah, Peter Peter. Okay, so it's a hobby. Good for you. Okay, yeah. Um, two sticks. Yeah, it's more like the kebab meat, but it's not, because the kebab meat's normally the layered stuff. I don't know how they made it. It'd be interesting. Yeah, human meat. Yeah, well, it was the wrong color for that. You know, it's it's probably processed meats, probably 99% processed meats of some description. But I was surprised they managed to make a burger that size. It's ridiculous, because normally if you have it with the beef or whatever, it'd be breaking apart, or it doesn't cook all the way through. Um, yeah, maybe we don't want to know exactly. It tastes nice. That's the only bit I want to know about it. Yeah. So yeah, it's tasty. That's all that matters. But we were going to go there or Domino's. April had decided to do it because I gave my son a choice on the way back from the football, because the the on the way back from the football, they had the choice of getting the taxi, going on the bus, or having an ice cream. And he said, "Well, having the ice cream." So we walked back. So we ordered the food on the way. April told April to order some food on the way back. That's what we got when we got home. It was something different, something new. I suppose you got to try everything, though. I mean, we do eat in most of the restaurants around here. La Terrain's place to hunt for bold pookie. I'm not the person to ask. um, yeah, that's not my. Yeah, probably better off asking JLB or somebody on that lines. It's not something I go looking for. I don't hang around in those sort of areas for a start. Uh, you know, wouldn't know. Um, yeah, but that was interesting today though with the football, because I wasn't sure what to expect. Because the kids all got a ticket to go. It's yeah, later. So you like them here? No, it's more a case of I'm happily married. So it's just a case of the I'm happily married with one person. I'm not interested in going looking for anything else, or anybody else. Um, yeah, because the football is pretty good. Because we got there, cost us. My son's ticket was free because all the kids at the school got a free ticket, but it was set €10 to get in. But it was a good match, especially when we won 4-1. So it was well worth going. Although hearing the guys behind us, it appears that we're the fifth bottom of the league at the moment. So That's the downside. But I think we'll be making that a regular thing for the weekend, going and see the football. Um, yeah, son seem to enjoy it. Anybody else got anything else I want to talk about? It's all a bit quiet. Right, let's arrange. Matt enjoyed your video yesterday about business in the Philippines. Yeah, the thing is, I know for a fact businesses work. You'll get a lot of people say they fail, they don't work. A lot of it is you just got to do your own work. You got to put the time and effort in on it. Um, yeah, where's CW? It's not football, it's soccer. Well, I've always called it football. Yeah, the latter range. But at some point, would you make a video regarding the tax requirements and your experience in dealing with the BIR? Yeah, I'll do that at some point. The thing that it's like most things, if you do your accounting right or have a good accountant, you don't really have any issues. It's like here in Spain. I've been self-employed in Spain for 11 months. Um, Having the right accountant, it just deals with all that stuff for you. I don't like getting too involved on the tax side. That's why you pay other people to do it because they should actually save you more money than they cost you. The guy I had here in Spain, I sacked, and um, they were charging too much, but they were crap as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, I got all I ran the course. Let's put it that way. I made sure my taxes were done. But you do need a good accountant. It doesn't matter where your business is, whatever part of the world. A good accountant is worth their weight in gold. I know with there's a guy on if anybody's doing jeepneys, there's a guy on Mactan. If you're in Cebu, his daughter, because he used to be the head of LTO. His daughter's a good lawyer for dealing with franchises and accounting generally. Um, worth making touching base with her. But yeah, but I don't get a lot of the problems a lot of people have as well because our family are pretty well interlinked with other people. For example, getting a, a document notarized only cost me 40 pesos um, because of people within the family, where I know other people pay a lot more. But it's the Philippines. A lot of it's about network. You know, we know people in the immigration that are friends. We know people that are interwoven in most things. You know, it doesn't matter what they are. I mean, most of the police force in Minglanilla, my wife's either went to school with them or related to them. So we don't really have a lot of the issues that some people run into because we we just know a lot of the people in our area. And I think that's one of the things that is beneficial with living in the same area that your partner comes from. I know on some of the forums you go on, they'll say to move away from the family, but often the family network's very useful if you use it right and make sure people don't abuse you. Uh, Latter range, you must have stories good and bad. Will it? We go on dealing with the tax authorities. I haven't. See, the thing is with the business, like I said, with a lot of people's businesses, they don't really have they don't really get into their tax affairs. It's something they don't really talk about. I'd never had any problems, and the people I know either haven't told me about it, or quite simply, it's just they've never had any issues. 2006 Crusader, Matt. Crazy question: how easy or difficult is it to get a Philippine passport as a foreigner? You want a passport? I think you have to do your 5 years probably as a resident, unless you do it another way. See, the thing is, I try to keep that sort of stuff quiet anyway. But I mean, there's a friend of mine where I think it's three kids have all got driving licenses. Um, Latter rains, can they block you from leaving the country if you have unpaid taxes? Yes. The thing is, if you got tax affairs, tax like any country, I mean, as far as I'm aware, the tax authority have got more power than the police most of the times. They do in the UK. You know, you can get the old VAT people and that come in, seize everything in your house, including your house, and then you have to explain where you got it from and how you earned it. They don't do it the same way the police, where you're innocent until proven guilty. With a tax, you can be guilty until you're proven innocent. I had a friend doing that with vehicles in the UK because he was getting vans from Ireland, so they were avoiding some of the tax duty because there was less tax on the purchases in Ireland relating to the vans. But what happened was is they raided his house the week before Christmas and just made his life difficult. Even though he's doing nothing illegal, it's actually just a tax loophole. But at the same time, they just made it very difficult for him. Gave him all his stuff back, but obviously he did it to ruin his Christmas. Um, yeah, so yeah, they could block you from leaving. And in all honesty, that's probably the best way to do it, rather than just arrest you for it, because the expectation is you'll pay the taxes before you leave, or find a way to pay them. Um, but I wouldn't know how to get hold of somebody's tax affairs relating to whether they owe tax authorities any money. Um, you'd have to know what businesses they had and if there was any history with the businesses, whether they're a business that was actually listed anywhere. Then there may be records that you can access. But if it's somebody's small business, there's probably no documentation whatsoever. You know, there'd be very little that actually says the business even existed. Because the other thing is, if this person is a foreigner, how did they get on the tax documents in the first place? Because they can't legally own that business. They can be a part owner, which means other people are also responsible, or what? That's the thing. How did they end up owing the money in the first place? Because regarding a friend of mine with his restaurant, where his wife was the owner of the restaurant, when she sold the restaurant to multiple people, and there was people like for the air conditioning because she'd sold the air conditioning and all this sort of stuff. He was going to the court, and it was only I told him to get a lawyer. Got my lawyer sorted. The lawyer went in and said, "This isn't his problem. As you can see, it's his wife's business. It's not his." Um, Latter ends. Would you say there is a real estate boom in the Philippines? If so, would you say it's near the top? How long would you say it's been going? The thing with it, I noticed this back in this will be 2010. There was an excessive amount of properties going up. Um, and they're all driven by uh, it's a false boom. It's a speculation boom. It's not about a lack of housing. It's speculation. As such, a lot of it's dead money. At the end of the day, you'll struggle to recover the money on a lot of it. But at the same time, a lot of people won't rent some of the places out for realistic rents either. They'd rather hope that some mythical person will take the rent at a premium so they can recover what they're actually having to pay out on the place. Um, yeah, but yeah, that's it. Like the rains. Yeah, that's how housing booms always are. Yeah, but the thing is, that a lot of people aren't living in them because they're overseas paying for it. So there's nobody actually there. So it's not as if there's money being generated from some of these properties, because at the end of the day, there's nobody that can, unless they're Korean students or wealthy Filipinos. And if they're wealthy Filipinos, they probably own their own units anyway. Um, there isn't a lot of opportunity there, to actually get your money back. And I know some of these places are just like boxes, literally, they're just tiny little places. I'm trying to think who bought one. There was somebody I know who bought one a while back, and they ended up buying 3 units to make one because they were so small that they had to buy 3 units to knock them through, because they just weren't big enough for a couple even. Um, there's one a friend's got at the moment. Well, look at today, and you're like, It's tiny. They're the equivalent of a studio apartment, I suppose. Aren't they? Most of these, they're just so small. But that's probably part of the boom as well, because obviously they try to squeeze as much profit out of it, for the developers, not for the owners of them. So yeah, that's my personal view is you've got to be very careful if you invest in condos, because there's a lot of hype around them. There's a lot of promises that are done. If it's not on paper and not guaranteed in some form legally, then just simply don't believe it. 2006 Crusader, those 1 or 2 million houses you can buy everywhere are worth maybe 25% of it. Yeah, exactly. Um, I agree. That's the thing. It's the same here in Spain. The reason the prices here in Spain are held up is because so much of the debt is owned by the banks. So at the end of the day, they're not going to reduce it because they'd have to deflate the values of the banks along with it. Latter rains. My son is half Filipino, but his mother was born in the USA. But can he still get Filipino citizenship now he's 12? Um, I'm sure they can have dual citizenship. Yeah, I'm sure you can. I'm not sure on the age though. It's worth to just double check on that. But there is a lot of people that actually return to be Filipino. Sort of previously giving up citizenship to go elsewhere. So, but he should be able to get dual citizenship at his age. But don't quote me on that. But I'm sure it could be possible. West CW, get him an American passport. I want to buy that. Well, the thing is, you can buy condos, but the land's where the issue is. Um, yeah, I'd have a look at it. I'll double check because I'm sure you could probably have dual citizenship. Because I mean, I know we see the thing is, I know with Japan, I think at 21 you've got to decide if you're like American or Japanese, but I'm not sure with the Philippines how that like runs. Because I know, like here in Spain, you can be Spanish and Filipino. You can keep both. So it might be the same with America. But the reason it might be different with Spain is because obviously the Philippines was a Spanish colony. It was it was taken over by Spain. So they do recognize you can keep both. So, but I'm not sure with America, but it might be. I think it is. I think you can have dual citizenship. Um, yeah, let me double check. Yeah, you'll have to spend a bit of time on their website because sometimes it's out of date. A lot of the time it's out of date, but you've got to go through it and just make sure. Yeah, you just got to go through it and see what the criteria is. Um, Yeah, because like 2006 Crusader says, yeah, you can have dual citizenship. That's what I was saying. Some countries have it, they do, but some other countries actually, when you swear allegiance to wherever, you have to give up your old citizenship. So it's worth having a look because if we can have it, then that shouldn't be an issue. Then you know, which also means you can buy land. I mean, that's the thing in the Philippines. If you got a bit of money to invest, you can get something started quite easily. If you wanted to build your own place or, yeah, exactly. 2006 Crusader depends on the country. Yeah, because I think the UK you have to give up your former country when you gain citizenship, but I'm not sure if you were born in the Philippines if it's different or not. Um, Probably, yeah, you could probably apply for it though. Because obviously you didn't give up a citizenship. You obviously have the born born in the Philippines in the first place, so you've got that option there. So it should be an opportunity that you can use. So yeah, the US may be the same because, but I think yeah, I'm sure it is. I don't want to read it too much because I know I'll get sidetracked and I'll stop talking because I'll be reading everything. You just need to go through the website. Just go to the Philippine consulate for dual citizenship and then search through that. And it'll give you all the details and what criteria you need to meet, when you have to be born, and all this sort of stuff. Because obviously they make different things. Um, it's a bit like here in Spain, where the stuff I've been dealing with the immigration here. When we went to Alicante the other day, we found the Alicante office recognizes people that have incomes from overseas. But when we went to the local office here, which is where I process mine, they didn't recognize it. It's not on their list, not in their criteria, but it should be. So yeah, it's worth going through their own websites, making sure. Yeah, there you go. Paul MacArthur. My two kids were born in the UK to their US mother. They are dual citizenship. Yeah, dual citizens now. Yeah. So yeah, so you can hold dual citizenship, but it's always worth just checking with the websites because some of this stuff changes. Some of it's relevant to when people were born, um, and then obviously any administration changes. So it's always worth just looking it up. But I don't think it'd be too difficult to get it sorted anyway. Yeah, it's so hard to get through to a live person on the phone at the US consulate here. Um, Try it. Just drop it through on the emails because I think you can email them no problem, and it'll probably take them a week to get back to you. But it's like here in Spain, I'll send them emails to the British consulate and that, and just wait for it to come back. Phoning them, I'll never get the right person. I can guarantee that. It'll take forever. Um, they're too busy playing golf. 2006 Crusader. It's easier for Filipinos to enter Europe through Spain. It's not as easy as it used to be. Um, this is why a lot of people have gone. I mean, lots of people all over Europe. So the thing with Spain is they don't give you anything for free anyway. Um, so it's not as if people are a burden of state. You're not entitled to anything anyway. So it's not like the UK where people go housing benefit, child benefit, blah 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 blah. Don't get any of that stuff. I think you have to be paying into the system for 8 years before you see any of it. But yeah, I would say it's easier to get. It's certainly easier than the UK. Um, yeah, I mean, my kids, I could get the UK passports for, but at the end of the day, um, I'd rather have the kids on the Spanish passports, the same as April, because then everyone's together. Everybody's on their passports with no headaches. Because the last thing I want to do is sort of split them up from the mother in that sense. We're having some passports for this country, some passports for that. But for Filipinos, they can get their citizenship in Spain within 2 years. In the UK, it's for citizenship, it's 5 years. Also, meeting the criteria is easier in Spain. Um, you also haven't got the hassle of the way they keep revoking things in the UK, the way it often hits in the media. People have been there, and it's like, oh, you went out of the UK for a set period of time. Now you're not entitled to come back. You're no longer your visa is no longer any good, which is the sort of stuff that's been hitting the media in the UK. 2006 Crusader saw a program on TV. Belgium guys could get their girlfriends' wives to Belgium, but now they live together in Spain. Yeah, they're probably on the Schengen route. Um, yeah, but a lot of people are in Spain because they prefer it here. Because that's the thing. Some of these guys started off on the Schengen route and then eventually stayed here anyway. But there's been people go to Germany, Holland, all over the place, because it's easier than going to the UK. It really is. Uh, yeah, couldn't get into Belgium. Yeah, Laterains. It's hard to believe, but in 1950s, Philippines had the biggest economy in Asia. Yeah, but they had a bad run with Marcos. The whole power plant thing and the gold and billions disappearing um, did a lot of damage to the Philippines. It stuck them in time basically. Just raided the place. There was nothing left. Um, yeah, they couldn't get to Belgium, so they now live together in Spain. Spain is, I wouldn't say Spain's more relaxed. I would say it's more a case of they're more reasonable to deal with. Um, but also, everybody I know that's here with their partners or whatever, they've all earned it. They all work for a living. There's nobody that's scrounging off the states or anything. They all make their own way and pay their own bills. Uh, Latter range, based on projections, Philippines will have double the population in 15 years it has now. Yes, but there's also a growing middle class as well in the Philippines, which are actually cutting down on their kids. They only have one or two kids because they work and stuff. They're becoming more westernized. But I do think there is still way too much population growth in the Philippines, and it's not healthy. I mean, it's bad enough now. You know, doubling their population, it'd be horrendous because it's already overcrowded in many locations. Um, but there will be a point where it starts to go the other way, where people start to wake up to the fact less is more, less kids, more money. You know, I think it will happen at some point, but it's just it's like anywhere, industrial revolution. It happens. I mean, UK it was pretty normal to have that sort of amount of kids 100 years ago, but these days it's only well, there's only certain groups that do it, and obviously certain people do it for benefits, but but it's not the majority anymore. Yeah, later range, so there'll be more poor people. It's like that in every country. Poorest equipped people have the most kids. Yeah, they always do. A lot of it's down to education. A lot of it's down to too much spare time. Um, it's it's a difficult one to deal with. It is. I mean, it's still a problem in the UK. And the problem you also get is it becomes generational. So you get an expansion on the population that is more likely to have a lot of kids, where people that are, say, professionals, should we say, have less kids. So you have less kids at that education level, probably percentage wise, because the opportunities are less, you know, from people from a poorer background. So the more they expand, the less opportunities there are because there's more people looking for it. But at the same time, the ones that are from a more educated background, they don't have as many kids, but at the same time, their numbers remain around the same. You know, they're not growing at the same speed. So the less opportunities job wise and career wise. And yeah, it, when you look at it logically, it doesn't make any sense. But that's the thing. Um, you look at it logically, it doesn't make any sense. But in the old days when you needed lots of people to work your farms and stuff, and the kids would work with with the fathers and the mothers, and everybody's making the the crops and everything, and farming the crops and all that sort of stuff. It made sense. But today, we don't need it. I mean, one thing the planet is overpopulated. Whichever way you look at it, there's too many people overall. But there's nothing. It's the elephant in the room. Nobody really talks about population reduction. People just talk about population growth, where the elephant in the room should be actually looking at how do you reduce population. Um, even if you paid people not to have kids, if people were paid not to have children, it sounds bizarre, but the, it's like with the old Chinese rule with the two kids sort of thing. Um, I think they tax them if you have more kids. So they paying people not to have kids could also be a benefit, or doing something else. Yeah, it's not an easy one to solve, that's for sure. Anybody else want to chat about something else? We're all over the place topic wise. Say Elsa, start with Spain. I want to invest in property. There's property around. The I was saying the other day with Igor. Igor bought a property for 50,000. I say same property in the same sense that same layout, same style, same age, just in a different block by that's up for sale by somebody else. They're selling it for 80,000. You've just got to shop around on properties. But there's certainly properties you can make money on. Um, I'd say the market is at the moment. I'd wait until the Brexit because during that Brexit period, I think there's going to be a dip because people pause on their purchases. So there may be a flurry of activity during that time where properties are up for sale, and there's not enough buyers. And then you'll get a dip in the prices because people want to offload their properties during the Brexit with the insecurity of knowing what's going on, and you could probably get a good deal. And that's when I would buy. And that's what I'd recommend anybody else buying is just hanging on because the Brexit's supposed to be triggered this month as well. So once that starts going for the old Article 50, the process begins. And once that starts, I think that could have a little bit of an effect on the housing market for the benefit of the buyers, but not a benefit of the sellers, that's for sure. But I also think that the market's still overvalued in a lot of areas. There's just, I mean, here where we are on the matter, the population is of an older generation. A lot of the people that come here are older, so there's a lot of people wanting to sell here, but at the same time, um, 2006 Crusader, Matt, I'm signing off. Thanks till next time. All right, mate. Take it easy. Have a good evening, good day, or good morning. Tay Elsa, I was in Cebu. I checked the flat price in Spain is cheaper. Yeah, Spain is cheaper. It depends where you're buying as well, though. If you're buying it in land, then you can buy an entire village in some locations for about 100,000 euros. But it's a bit like here. La Mata is only 5 kilometers from Torrevieja, but you'll see the price difference between the two for the same style of property is probably about 10,000 euros just from going 5 kilometers up the road. So there is price differences depending on the areas, but also you've got to look at the fact: is it an area where properties are shifting, or is it an area where properties are stagnant? Because Pinot Noir, which is just a bit further up from me, the property is there. It doesn't look well. The thing is, there's no businesses operating there anymore. Chinese restaurants got graffiti on it and been closed since we've been here. So it's been closed over 2 years. Hairdressers is closed, etc., etc. Um, yeah, Ed Dinoy. Latter, the rich get richer and the poor get children. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but there's certainly property opportunities there. You just got to be very careful what you invest in because obviously in Spain you got a 10% tax as well. So any purchase you've got to pay the state 10% of the property value. Um, Also watch the fees because a lot of the stuff you can get done cheaper, but they'll try and tie you in with it with a mortgage to get even more money out of you. Um, so yeah, cash buying is always what I can see anyway. You wait until I buy first. Yeah. Yeah, the thing is when I buy it, it'll be a case of I've found something at the right price. Like the apartment I've seen with the damp issues. But that's sold before I bought it. But at the same time, I contacted a expert in the sense that that's what they specialize in is the damp. And they said don't touch it. It's just too much of a headache. So, but that one was only I could have bought that for I think there was on the market for 35 and I could have bought it for 24. just to give you an idea of how much of a difference on price you can get if you approach the owners if you've got somebody that needs to sell it. In that case, they didn't want to deal with the damp, so that was perfect for me. I didn't mind paying for the renovations and stuff, but at the same time, I wanted to get it checked on the damp to make sure it was something that was worth investing in getting it fixed. But it from the guy I was talking to, because of the age of the property and the way that a lot of the construction methods are done here, it just wasn't worth the investment. But there's plenty of other good stuff around here. One of the things I would say though is you've got to bear in mind the age of the properties. Because like the one I'm in at the moment, I'm going to be replacing one of the taps for the landlord. The main tap for the kitchen's gone. Well, the hot side's not working. It started dripping last week, so I'm going to change that over. Yeah, you got 10% tax plus you got your conveyancing fees. For making sure there's no debt on it, making sure that it's available to purchase, who owns it, is there multiple people that own it? Because obviously, if it's a more rural location, there could be multiple people. Um, Dino, I've got no sound. Someone tell me what he's talking about. Spanish property. So yeah, you got 10%, and then you've got probably about another 5 to 6% on costs relating to conveyancing, relating to the fees for setting up a mortgage, etc., etc. So I would say budget 15% above the value of the property, because that'll be basically what you'll be spending on all those costs, unless you can find a way to do it cheaper. For example, my friend Andreas does the conveyancing fees, conveyancing, so he could do that for you because he's already done it for another company here in Spain. Yeah, getting a dry throat now. I've been on air a while. How are the property taxes? They're not too Tom in Fredonia. I find the taxes here are pretty reasonable. It's about €200 a year. Um, there's like property taxes with the insurance and everything else in. Costs about 200 a year all in. Pretty dirt cheap compared to what we pay in the UK for sure. Yeah, Spain on that side is pretty cheap. Whereas expenses is being employed, self-employed because of all the taxes. But there is incentives for, well, if you've got kids, um, it's pretty good, But business-wise, there's a lot of tax, 20% tax, obviously, as the old VAT. But then you got 20% on your profits and stuff as well. So best thing to do is have as little profit as possible. A lot of businesses here have a lot of stuff not on the account whatsoever. It's just the way a lot of the country operates. I'm going to cut this one off because we've run over an hour now, and it's nearly 3 a.m. here. It's a bit late, but I might do another one tomorrow afternoon. So I'll see how busy I am because I've got to get the van sorted. We've got to sort out some paperwork that's got to be done with the bank for the immigration stuff, and yeah, 3,600 property tax. Yeah, the thing with Spain is 10% on the tax. I'm not sure on the seller side because on the buyer side you've got the 10%, but it's the same with vehicles. I paid tax on a second-hand van because you have to pay tax even on second-hand vehicles. Bizarrely, they certainly get a slice of the pie in most directions. Then Dinoy, I paid zero property tax. Yeah, it's Peter Roos here as well. How's it going? It's quite busy now. um, but I'm going to head off to bed because it's late here in Spain. But it's been great having everybody on here. If you want to discuss anything else, you leave it in the chats or in the comments, and I'll reply to it. And obviously, anybody else here can obviously reply to it as well. Um, yeah, good old New York. That's why it's so expensive. All right. Good night, everyone. Good day and good morning, wherever you are. Have a great day. Take it easy.